What is up? Welcome into this beautiful Tuesday morning edition of Pushing the Pile, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Mike Renner, Kyle Long, and Pete Prisco joining the show as always. And we had a couple barn burners, some points being scored on Monday Night Football. Finally, last night. We'll start with the game that actually was interesting, though. Commanders, Bengals, kind of comes down to the wire. No stops, no punts in this game. The only stops were field goals, and that proved to be the difference in this one as they win on the road, Washington Commanders. The story, though, has to be Jayden Daniels and what he did. And I need you, Pete, to take a little victory lap because you had him, the top quarterback in this draft class. And, well, he looks like it right now.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a little early to take the victory lap, but I'm going to
take it. Don't go too far.
Though. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, probably only make it halfway anyway. No, look, there were reasons I liked him. Mm-hmm. I thought he was the most improved player I've ever seen in any draft process in my life. From the time he went to Arizona State, and I'm a Sun Devil, watched him closely, was not a great quarterback. To the time he left LSU, and then you talked to all the people, and the thing that they said was he was the first guy in and the last guy out. He loved it and lived it, and I love that. A. B, he is an alpha. He has, and you watch the combine interviews and talk to people, and he said he's the one that had it. You know, it was important to him. He was that guy. He would command the huddle. C, he makes it look so easy. There's always a quarterback you look at, and last year it was C.J. Stroud, where you say, okay, never frazzled, makes it look easy. Whereas you look at Caleb Williams, and it's a lot of, he might make these spectacular plays, but it's never easy. And that, to me, was the biggest difference. That's why I went with Jayden Daniels as one, and I thought it was a clear one, by the way.
Yeah, I think this guy Jayden looks so comfortable in this offense, and credit Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not in those meetings. I'm not sure exactly what they're teaching or how they're teaching it, but clearly it's simple enough to be digested for the entire offense. And the why is really the important part for the offense to understand, whether it's linemen, tight ends, receivers, running backs. If you understand the why and you're all on the same page, you get guys that buy in. And that's the difference I see between a guy like Jayden Daniels and this Commanders offense than, the example of the Bears and Caleb. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing in Chicago. It's clear that they have a goal in mind in Washington. They're letting their guy, their young alpha, Jayden Daniels, dominate. And that's what he did last night against a Joe Burrow-led offense that wasn't dragging in the mud. They were doing all right, too. Okay, Joe Burrow looked great. Couple touchdowns, no interceptions. Like you said, no punts, no turnovers. But this guy right here, Jayden Daniels on the screen, he was having fun. And that's the one thing I noticed about him. It stood out to me like a sore thumb. The guy is dancing. He's having fun. Everybody else is around him dancing and having fun after touchdowns and big plays. He's such a dual threat, the ability to run that fake and keeper at the goal line. Not only does he have the wheels to get there, but the technique, the way that he sells the runs. These guys, even though they know he is a dual threat, they still are biting on the run fake because it's such a good run fake. That takes practice. This guy is wise beyond his years.
Plus, he doesn't cry after losses, which I really enjoy.
I think I do think you hit the nail there on the head, though, about something that I've thought a lot about in terms of quarterback evaluation from college to the pros, which is the improvement. Like when guys improve technical things to the collegiate level and have the dedication to do so, because no one hits the ground running in the NFL perfect, right? There's so few guys who don't have things that they have to improve. And you need the kind of personality, the kind of guy who's going to improve against all odds when it's not going well, when things aren't in his favor, but he's still going to put in that work to get to the next level. And I think that's what we're seeing with Daniels. Like, no one said this is a perfect situation for him going in. And in this game, though, it kind of was in terms of the offensive line played a heck of a game. Cliff Kingsbury, I thought, dialed up a heck of a performance from a play calling perspective. I loved a lot of the things they did that we can get into a little bit, but he's also a guy that Jayden Daniels, you've even seen improvement from last year at LSU, I think, in what he does from the pocket right now. And then I think you can't underrate with quarterbacks these tier one rushing threats, the guys who are truly dynamic that can basically make every defensive lineman miss on the first time. Whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Josh Allen, whether it's Anthony Richardson. And like we see how good that Colts offense is, or what that Colts offense is going to do, even when he can't even pass, right? Like it's still a capable offense, even when he can't even pass, because of that rushing threat. So it's such a value add, and Jayden Daniels is truly like special in that regard.
But the one thing about the game is A, you get slower as you get older. I can attest to that. But B, it eventually all comes back to here, and that's the difference between him And even with Josh Allen, it took him a while, but he got there. The game is here in the pocket. And so you got to go through your progressions. You got to get through your reads. You got to be able to stand in there. And you saw it on the last throw. Stand in there and stare down the gun barrel. Take the shot and make the throw. And for all the talk about him being, you heard a lot of that in the pre-draft process. He's too little. He's too skinny. He's not going to be
skinny.
But he can take. He stands. He's tough, and that's the thing you want from your quarterback. And I heard somebody saying, "Well, he's got a great situation." Well, let's go back and revisit that. Chicago before the season, it's the greatest situation ever for a quarterback, right? They got all the wide receivers, they got the tackles, they got the running game. They went out and got Swift. It's great. Well, no, it isn't. And two, when you look at the situation for him, it isn't that great. Remember, Cliff Kingsbury took a ton of criticism when he was the coach of the Cardinals for the way he played offense. So does that mean that Daniels is a better pocket thrower than Murray was in that system? I mean,
I've seen his system evolve, though. From what I saw in this
game,
a little bit. What he was doing with the pony looks early on, 2 running backs that entire first drive, Bengals had no clue what they were doing to try to stop that. They were not ready for that. They rolled down the field and a touchdown. And then what they were doing with some of him in the running game, they had a 3rd down conversion, which was much better than what the Bears have done with Caleb Williams in the running game. A little boot action, and they had 2 guys on the back door. Right. It was like power one way.
Yeah, he's changed
2 guys
up
on the back
a little
door.
Bit, but again, the criticism of him was the passing game from the pocket wasn't. Yes. It was pretty.
And it is still like a lot of RPOs, a lot of wide screens, and that was protect Daniels though, because he's not going to get hit on those. If it's an RPO, if it's a wide screen, it's a pass play. You're getting him warmed up and in the feel of the game, but he's not getting hit on those.
This guy's unbothered. There's no situation that the Commanders are going to get in offensively that Jaden Daniels can't climb out of with his talent, whether it's with his legs or hitting a receiver in stride on a mesh concept or finding Terry McLaurin with zero safety look, just cooking Cam Taylor-Britt. He even missed one in the back left of the end zone. And
I guess Dax Hill.
The broadcaster was like, "Yeah, it was a really good defense, though." No, buddy. That was almost another touchdown for Jaden Daniels. This offense believes in their guy. He is unbothered. And to your point about him staring down the barrel of the gun and taking the shot while he's taking a hit, that speaks volumes about him as a leader. And I can tell you that the entire team, offense, defense, special teams, they respect this guy. And when you respect and believe in a quarterback, great things happen. I see it happen in Kansas City every single week with Patrick. And when I was there, you get that sense that he is the alpha in the locker room. It's the same thing in Washington. They hit the nail on the head with this pick.
From the Bengals' perspective, I mean, stick a fork in them. And it's not because of the offense. I think they're actually fine now. And I think you put a points on anybody with what I saw last night and what they have.
Usually, so.
It's the defense. This defense is not the defense that was taking them to the Super Bowl a few years ago. And it's the defensive line specifically. It is either Trey Hendrickson or nobody getting after opposing quarterbacks right now. And I go back to their draft history because in the past 4 drafts, they've drafted 5 top 100 guys along the defensive line. Joseph Asai, Zach Carter, Miles Murphy, Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson. They haven't done a darn thing. Their draft hit rate along the defensive line has just been zilch, and that's how you get what we saw. You can't just keep buying free agents every year. And
injuries run out there a little bit too.
Well, Miles Murphy's hurt, but also it's not
and Jenkins is hurt too. So
I think he played last night though. But
he's hurt.
But
he's just come back.
But it's like that is why you had this D line that was built on free agency, but that money doesn't last forever. At some point, you have to build it through the trenches, through the draft, and they just never did.
You even had questions about the offensive line for this Bengals unit. And I know they're kind of a retooled unit, but we saw Trent Brown go down, and Mims comes in the game, and I'll be honest, it was not pretty from what I saw from Mims at the right tackle.
It wasn't.
He looks like Tarzan for sure, and doesn't quite play like his draft position yet. And I will say, for a guy that big, you got to go play brutish. You got to go play physical. What I saw was a guy that was a little bit hesitant at times and not using his size and his strength to his advantage. I think that right side of the offensive line is going to be something to watch here in the next couple of weeks.
What's funny is the first play he went in, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he went in, they broke the huddle, and he comes strolling out like, I'm going to kick everybody. Did you notice that the camera was on him? And then, boom, right inside of him, right up the –
He's like the Hulk. He looks like the Hulk. If they can get him to play a little bit less than the Hulk.
But, Mike, to your point on the defense, a week ago they were pretty good on defense against the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, that was because Trey Hendrickson was going up against a rookie left tackle, right? And again, it's you're living and dying by one guy.
I mean, they turned the ball over. They had
their secondary is still good. I mean, this is probably the secondary is capable. Just when you give a quarterback that much time, no secondary is going to be.
See, I think it's more a function, like you mentioned, the interior of the defensive line. That's the problem. They don't get anything from that at all. And they've let guys, they let Reeder go, and now he was banged up, and so that was a concern. But still, they don't get anything from that group.
Yeah. All right, on to the Jags, traveling to Buffalo to face the Bills. And this one was over at halftime for probably the second straight week for the Buffalo Bills, as they look like an absolute house right now. I believe they put up 30 straight points in all 3 games this season. Not a lot of 30-pointers out there. The Bills have a lot of them already. And we don't need to hammer the Bills. You guys know them. They're number 2 in Pete's power rankings. No surprise there. But from the Jags' perspective, those got to be the hottest seats in the NFL for their head coach and GM right now. This was a team that playoffs 2 years ago had that massive comeback against the Chargers. People thought that was the start of something. The last, 8 straight losses for this Jaguars team. It's been a disaster, abjectly.
Including a loss to the Chiefs on the road, which is never any fun when you're in a win or go home situation for the Jags. So now they start this season with another slump, and there's nothing but questions being asked. And you can even see it in Trevor in his post-game presser. He's just, they're reeling. They're trying to figure out what's going wrong. It's not enough guys stepping up. They're not on the same page, and they just got absolutely boat raced by this Bills team. And, when you're sitting there, I've been on teams like this, and I'm thinking about it was 2015, the Bears, we went up to play New England. And it was Brady, it was Gronk, and they put up about 50 points, and we put up probably 14, maybe pity points at the end of the game. It was so bad that Lamar Houston got a sack in that game. He did a celebration. He tore his ACL. So you remember this?
Yeah, I remember that.
It just felt like nothing could go right that night. And when I'm watching the Jags last night, it was the same thing. I'm wondering at what point in the second quarter Mitch Trubisky is going to come in this football game. But credit to these guys, the Bills, they were just dominant. It's Joe Brady on the same page with Josh Allen. Josh Allen able to do anything at will at any time. It's almost unfair. It's like watching the kid who turned 13 right before the Little League 12-year-old year. Everybody else is 11, 12. Josh Allen's a 13-year-old playing against these guys right now.
It's interesting. I'll say something about the Bills first, but when I was there for a couple of days in the summer, the whole idea that the window was closed was just stupidity. I mean, just grade A stupidity.
I was wrong.
And were you one of those idiots that said that?
I didn't say the window's closed, but I would say that they're not in the tier 1 of teams that I'm thinking about being threatened by here.
Because Diggs wasn't there?
Diggs, there's some issues on the defense from Milano.
Mine was defensively. I worried
Milano went down, and I'm like, how are they going to fill this void? But they score so many damn points on offense, it doesn't even matter at this point.
And Von Miller's starting to look like Von Miller
Yes.
again. I mean, and Russo has elevated his game, and they don't get the corners on that team don't get enough credit for who they are. Both Benford has become a steal in that draft, and Rasul Douglas, wherever he goes, he makes plays. He's a good player. And so I think that's what people lost sight of. And Brady really gets the ball out of his hands. The ball's gone. He's quick. He's not standing in there making, taking shots and doing all that crazy stuff that he does. And he can still run the football.
No sacks.
No. But back in the 2 tackles, you always rave about the 2 tackles. They stoned those defensive. Think about Jacksonville. Okay, we're going to go through Jacksonville. They reward the quarterback with a mega contract, which you almost had to do. Mm-hmm. They make Josh Hines-Allen one of the top paid defensive ends in the league, paid Tyson Campbell to be one of the top corners in the league. Tyson Campbell's hurt, not playing. Hines-Allen has done nothing. He bulked up. He's done nothing. You have the quarterback who's not playing very well right now. Now, whether he's sped up and I don't like the design of the offense, I'll give it all that because there's reasons for why he's not playing well, and he's just got to pick up his game. So if you're the owner of that team, you come out before the season, you say, it's the most talented team in the history of the Jaguars. Well, it's not. It's not even in the ballpark, by the way. I know you can't even believe it.
96, 97?
99 was the best team. They
yeah.
should have won it all that year. But the bottom line is it's not even in the ballpark. So he says that. What's that do? It makes the general manager look good, but it makes the coaching staff unhappy. Puts a ton of pressure on them. So automatically you have there's players too. There's automatically a problem in that building, period. And there is a problem in that building. They can talk all they want about there isn't. Look, Trent Baalke is lived through everything. Everything gets blown. He's still standing because he makes it about that. He saves himself. Coughlin, got him out of there. Dave Caldwell, got him out of there. Doug Marrone, got him out of there. He's still there. Brings in Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's out. He's out of there. He wanted Urban Meyer, by the way. He'll tell you he didn't. He did. Urban Meyer, out. So now, who's still standing? He is. Well, now who's in jeopardy? One of them's going, at least, maybe both of them. And so what happens? You start having rifts inside that building.
Nobody knows who to trust. Nobody knows who to talk to. Next thing you know, we could blow the whole thing up.
Supposedly, and
Trevor.
I got this on that he was the one who pushed for Ryan Nielsen to be the defensive coordinator.
Okay.
And so when a general manager is dictating who should be the guy, then you got a problem with that.
Yeah, I think we're on a fast track to the clearinghouse in the Jaguars, just front office, head coach, because it's just gone south. And I went back to why I ranked them the worst offseason of anyone in the NFL and all the additions they made. Gabe Davis, he's caught 8 of 16 targets for 123 yards this year. Eric Armstead has 3 tackles all season long. Jarnell Savage was out this game with quad injury. Like,
The only
they
good one's
spent
Darby.
a lot of money on these guys and not a lot. And they spent like they're in a window right now when they were objectively not in the window right now to win. They just weren't. You still had to draft better than they've drafted. So for the Jaguars, when that's the case, when you make that drastic of a decision that has paid off so unfruitfully this early on in the season, they got to go.
And thought their offensive line, by adding Morse, would be improved. He's the only one that's played worth a damn. The rest of them have played awful. And then the other thing is, you mentioned Armstead. Okay, you sign Armstead to do what? A 3 technique.
PT. Yeah.
Well, what is he doing? He won't play. He told them, I want to be a defensive end. He plays defensive end. He doesn't play any. If you watch it, he doesn't play anywhere on the interior. Nowhere. That guy should be playing on the interior. He should be starting. You pay him that kind of money. He's a veteran. He should be starting at 3 technique. He comes in as a rotational defensive end at a position where you have 2 guys. Stupid.
I remember when he was in San Francisco, and it was him and Buckner on the inside, and you had to pick your poison, whoever you want to deal with. And obviously, in my opinion, Defoe's a more explosive rusher and able to get home. But I'm not sure what the thought process of him wanting to play outside more than inside is.
He doesn't want to take on double teams. He's 30 years old.
You're a longer way from the ball. And when you're 30 years old, you want to be as close to the ball as you can be, in my opinion.
Right. And look, doesn't he look leaner? Like almost like a.
Well,
like
he wants to play defensive end.
Right. I just don't.
Those healthy pub subs.
But why would you allow that? No, I'm signing you as a 3 technique. I don't care if you want to play defensive end. If you don't want to play defensive end, then go somewhere. If you want to play defensive end, go somewhere else.
Well, if the Jags make good decisions, they wouldn't be 0-3 right now.
Correct.
All right, there you have it. We're going to get to Pete's power rankings here. First, we're going to take a quick little break.
CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
Sure. What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ. CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
Sure. What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ.
Today, with the support of the NFL, a new playbook is being written. The National Gay Flag Football League provides inclusive play for over 4,000 LGBTQ+ players and allies. Here is a home with no penalty for being you. Today, with the support of the NFL, a new playbook is being written. The National Gay Flag Football League provides inclusive play for over 4,000 LGBTQ+ players and allies. Here is a home with no penalty for being you. Today, with the support of the NFL, a new playbook is being written. The National Gay Flag Football League provides inclusive play for over 4,000 LGBTQ+ players and allies. Here is a home with no penalty for being you.
A Quiet Place Day 1 is now streaming on Paramount Plus. It's thrilling, terrifying. It will make your heart pound out of your chest. A Quiet Place Day 1, now streaming. A Quiet Place Day 1 is now streaming on Paramount Plus. It's thrilling, terrifying. It will make your heart pound out of your chest. A
CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ.
Oh, it's college football.
What's up? We are back. Power rankings time. As we do every single Tuesday with Pete Prisco joining the show. Let's get to the top 10. No change at the top here. Kansas City Chiefs still at the number 1 position. Buffalo Bills coming in at number 2. Minnesota Vikings number 3. Seattle Seahawks at 4. Pittsburgh Steelers at 5. Houston Texans 6. Eagles back up to 7 for beating New Orleans Saints. Green Bay Packers sneaking back into number 8. Tampa Bay Bucks take a tumble to number 9. And the Detroit Lions round out the top 10 at the 10 spot. Bottom 5.
Here you go. Go ahead. I know you guys are all wound up today.
Bengals in the bottom 5
I know
now.
you're wound up. I know.
At number 28, Carolina Panthers. We said they might have been 32 all season long. Well, that was with Bryce Young. They're 29
Not so
now
fast, my friend.
with Andy Dalton. Las Vegas Raiders at 30.
Who's that? The Bengals down there at 28?
Jaguars at 31 and the Titans at 32. So let's get to our Goldilocks segment. Who's too high? Who's too low? And who is just right? Kyle, take it off.
For me, it's the Chargers being too high here. You know, you got the Chargers too high. All right, they're at 14. I think they should be a little bit lower. Herbert's hurt right now. Herbert's hurt. The offense got stymied by the Steelers. There was negative yardage in the second half for this football team. And yes, you, me, my mom, my cousins, they all love this offensive style from the LA Chargers.
No, I don't.
Pound them up front.
No, I don't.
Run the clock out, get out of dodge, play good defense. But you know what? You run into another defense and you find out that the style of the game is going to change. I still have questions about this team, even if Justin Herbert's out there with this group. But now Justin Herbert's out. They're too high for me. They're just too high for me. They're not dangerous without him. They're a one-dimensional team. And when you can allocate all those resources against the run, you're going to have to make them do something else. I'm not sure they can do it.
Well, it's not just him. Joe Alt also out now with an MCL sprain that he suffered in the loss. So Herbert, though, the X-rays were negative.
Right, he might play.
He may play.
It could be ligament. He can't do the same things he's doing. X-ray's negative. If you're in pain and the X-ray's negative, I almost think it's worse because then the ligament damage comes into play. You get the high sprain, low sprain, whatever it is, it limits you.
If he was healthy, though.
If he was healthy, I would say they're not too low.
Okay.
Or too high.
I based it on that he's going to play, and he's not going to be the same because
I've played with these things, man, and they don't get any better. They just don't get any better. You're saying shoot them up? They don't get any better. They don't have a good history of shooting guys up with the Chargers organization either.
But the old days, Toradol lying around the corner.
Toradol was great. I only took it twice in my career, and it was so good that I told myself I wouldn't rely on it. But and I'm sure Herbert's the same way. Herbert's probably not going to be a guy that relies on.
See, back in the 90s, you'd see the line around the corner of everybody before and after.
All you see is just butt cheeks heading out the locker room. It's just like you go in to get a cup for your dip before the game. Like me, I walk in, I'm like, "You guys got any of those Gatorade cups? Yeah, here you go." And I'm like, "What's up with the line? What are you getting a butt photo shoot here?" I'm just kidding. That's not real, guys.
That is real. That is real. You can say it was real.
I'm not sure they're too high. I mean, again, like the injuries, with Herbert looked like the way he did.
Two best players are dinged up.
It's tough. But if he's like anywhere modicum healthy, I don't think that's too. I think that's about where they are.
Bosa dinged?
My team that's too high. Yeah, Bosa is also dinged. So yeah, there are a lot of injuries.
Let's talk about it.
But Pittsburgh has a lot of injuries, though.
Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, are too high. You have it at number 5. And now I get that they're 3-0. And there are 5 3-0 teams right now, and they're one of them.
And Justin Fields is fixed.
Now you're not going to go on a limb and say that. But here's the thing. Here's who they played. According to your preseason power rankings, they have played the 20th ranked team in the Falcons, the 28th ranked team in the Broncos, and the 18th ranked team in the Chargers. So like of who you thought they were preseason, they could be like the 15th best team and still be 3. They haven't hit the contenders yet. And that's the biggest thing with me is they haven't hit anyone in the AFC. They haven't hit anyone else in the AFC North. They haven't hit the Chiefs, the Bills. They haven't hit those teams that really test you to say, are you a top 5 team? Or are you just a good defense that's skating by facing some of the lesser opponents in the NFL?
I get your point. But again, if you look at, I didn't think they were going to be this good. I'll be honest with you.
Early.
That's fair. Yeah.
I didn't.
Especially early.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they've been as good as they've been. And so when you look at it, they're going to what they're going to be. They're going to be a good defense, going to run the ball, take some shots, and that's who they are. They're going to be that way all year. You look at their schedule. You talk about their schedule. They've got Indy. They got a couple coming up. They got Dallas. Now, how good are they?
Against the run?
Yeah. Right. We don't know how good they are. And then they have somebody else in
Las Vegas.
In Jets. That's the one. So we might not know how good they are for what? The Jets game is when?
I see one loss there.
Yeah.
October, end of October.
I see one loss in the month of, going into
are we going to do that all year long with the Steelers? That's why they've earned the right to be there. But I get your point. They haven't. They beat the Falcons on a day when Kirk Cousins was in the pistol and was so uncomfortable, couldn't move. They beat the Broncos on the road when Bo Nix threw an end zone interception, didn't play very well. And then they beat the Chargers when Herbert went out. So I get your point. But we can do that all year with the Steelers.
Again, they're one of the 5-3-0 teams. I'm not taking anything away from them. I think they will win the AFC North at this point.
But I'm with you.
By default, because everyone seems to
And one other thing, I needed to get the Steeler fans off my back because I said they'd be the worst team.
That's the thing about the Steelers. I can't. That's why I was afraid to even put them in that. Because as soon as you do, I was in Pittsburgh this past weekend. I saw it.
Terrible towel. Woo!
As soon as you do, that's all you hear about. But I just got to call ball and strikes. They need this 3-0, but it's like
right.
It's easily the week's 3-0.
It's equally impressive to me that this team is 3-0 because we know that with the quarterback situation, it was you and I saying if you got two quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. Justin Fields hasn't been the MVP candidate, that some people will make you believe he is. But at the end of the day, he's playing winning football. He is using the middle of the field. They have been able to tap into another part of that brain for Justin Fields. And I give credit to this team because usually they're a group that rallies and finishes really well, the Steelers. They find a way to get above 500 for Mike Tomlin. He has the right messaging. But this team got off the boat onto the beach with the right attitude. They have been kicking ass on defense up front. They've done a great job. And I'm really, I'm not mad about where you have the Steelers. They've earned the right to be in this conversation at the top tier of the NFL right now from performance. But as Mike says, we're going to find out a lot about this team in the coming months.
Does Fields need to stay in?
Yes. 1,000%.
That's done. That's over.
The guys love Justin
That's
Fields
over.
in that
That's
building.
done.
Yeah. All right. Not even a conversation.
Who's too low?
Too low is the Atlanta Falcons. You got them at number 20. Okay. You got the Atlanta Falcons at number 20. And I know they have injuries too on the offensive line, but it didn't look too terrible when they came out. They were dominant when their guys were in there, though. Luckily for those guys, it's an MCL sprain and a high ankle sprain for O-linemen. O-linemen we treat a little bit differently than skill players because they will be back out there eventually, and they will take the tour at all. You and I both know that. I love the Atlanta Falcons style of play. They really do kick ass. And the opening drive against the Chiefs, it was ass-kicking football. I know what they're trying to get accomplished. So for me, Kirk Cousins is a guy that is prolific passer. He can get things done. He's been good in 2 primetime spots. Not great. He's been good enough to win football games, and they haven't figured out how to win it. Do I think they're a bottom third NFL team? Absolutely not. 20th in the league, Pete?
I'm still not a believer.
It's a little bit disrespectful. It's a little bit disrespectful. I love the Falcons. I think they're not a top 5 team. I'm not quite sure they're a top 10 team, but definitely maybe 11.
Well, here's the other thing. If Sirianni doesn't make the stupid decision at the end of that game, they're 0-3.
Well, these decisions, they're being made every week. So who's to say?
And Raheem Morris probably made a questionable decision by not kicking a field goal and maybe coming back and getting another one.
Well, there was a pass interference that was missed. Yeah. So we're looking at a potential 1-2, maybe 2-2.
It could be 0-3.
I like the Falcons. I like what they're doing on offense, and I think they've got enough going on that defense and some guys on the back end who can create extra possessions for them. It's going to be fun to watch them come down the stretch and figure out who they are.
I'll say this about the Falcons. At minimum, they've faced 3 of your top 10 teams.
Yep.
They have been tested by the best in the NFL. So to be in every single game the way they've been, that's at least encouraging. 1-2, though, is still their record. I still probably am putting them 3rd in that division. So are they 20th best team? I'd maybe put them just a touch higher, but it's hard when, like you said,
I'd settle for 15 or 14. I'd settle for that.
You know what it is? He likes their offensive line.
I do. I love their line.
It always
dude, your identity is who you are at the line of scrimmage. And we talk about some of these great teams, the Buffalo Bills, the Detroit Lions when they're right. And I just got done watching that film, and they were kicking ass on the line of scrimmage. If you win the line of scrimmage, you will win the football game more often than not. I think it's the most important determining factor in the game.
I agree. But in week 1, they weren't very good.
And their pass and their run and their pass looks the same.
Yeah, it's a good mix. It's a good mix. But they play the Saints this week, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that they play them this
Falcons
week?
Saints, yeah.
Yeah. And so
Where is it?
it's in
Atlanta.
Okay.
yeah. So we'll know about both those
that's
teams.
going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
All right, my team is too low. Detroit Lions at 10. I still think this is a team. I mean, they were on the doorstep last year, right? I don't see them being any worse than last year. I even think they're considerably better. You look at their defense, and that's been like the problem. 2 years ago, 25 points per game. Last year, just over 23 points per game. This year, just over 17 points per game allowed. And they faced the Rams, the Cardinals, the Bucks. They haven't had that layup, easy offense yet to really help out that points per game figure. This is a real deal defense now. And now the offense hasn't been the offense of the last 2 years, but I don't see any reason why they won't at some point during this season. Like, it will come on. It's just been a slow start for them. So when that's the case, this is still a top 5 team in the NFL, in my opinion. At least like from a roster perspective, like they just are that good. To put them 10, especially behind like the Bucks.
Well, they have to be behind. The Bucks went there and beat them.
I know they lost to the Bucks,
but the Bucks went to their place and beat them.
They had a bad Goff game. Goff threw 2 picks.
But at your place. If they had come to Tampa and he had a bad golf game and you beat him, okay. But they went to their place and beat him. They got to be behind the Bucks.
Bucks just got shellacked by the Broncos.
Yeah, we don't know
what that is.
We don't know who anybody is in the National
That's also
Football
true.
League.
You know what it is? Nobody's any damn good. But but
throw the records out the window. By the way,
nobody's any good. But that's the Bucks were a classic sandwich game this week. They played the Lions on the road. They play the Eagles this week.
Sandwich game.
Yeah.
That's I got to write that one down. Hold on, I will. Sandwich game.
Sandwich game.
So now I'm doing the just right, the Goldilocks pick. Right. This is the Goldilocks pick. The New York Jets. The New York Jets, you got them at number 11, just outside the top 10. I think it's a really comfortable place to kind of remain in relative obscurity there for Aaron Rodgers. Yes, a lot of people are watching the Jets and have questions about the defense. Are they going to able to bow up like they have historically? Is Aaron Rodgers going to look like he did last week all year? Yes, they played against the Patriots, and you and I could do pretty well offensively against the Patriots. We should be able to win. But for Aaron Rodgers, he looks the part.
Yes.
And I think one thing he appreciates is not being in that tier 1 discussion right now. He's kind of floating around. They're figuring out who they are, figuring out how to get better as a football team. And when I look around the Jets in this list, you got the Lions right in front of them. You got the Saints right behind you. These are groups that we consider to be teams that are in the class of the NFL. This is a good group to be in. And the top of the list, Bills, Chiefs. But I think you want to kind of be hanging out right behind all these top tier guys, so the pressure's not quite as much on you. So for the Jets, the 11th spot in Pete's power rankings, I think that's Goldilocks. You want to live there until it comes time for the dance, and then you ramp up.
I have a feeling they're going to be higher than that by the end of the year.
They're going to keep climbing one spot each week.
What we saw from Aaron Rodgers the other day was the first time he's looked like Aaron Rodgers in a long time. Moving to throw, not moving to run, moving to throw. That's who he is. First 2 games, he didn't do it. He did it the other night, and I think that's the biggest difference. That's why they're going to move it. Plus, they can pressure the hell out of the quarterback.
I texted one of his teammates, and I'm not going to give any more information about that. One of his teammates from Green Bay that I'm still buddies with. I texted him. I was like, "Hey, after week 1, I said, your boy can still throw it," and he was like, "Yeah, I'm concerned that he can't move though." And after the week 3 performance, I texted him. I said, "What do you think about 12?" I called him 12, not 8. He said he looks like 12 to me. So for Jets fans, relax, you're going to be okay. You got this guy, Aaron Rodgers. Nothing makes him uncomfortable, and everybody raises their level of play. You saw the way they look this past week. So Jets, good spot, number 11. Way to go, Pete.
I agree with that. I think even higher by the end of the season. That's just when you got a quarterback to them.
Keep them down.
My team, that's just right. I went with the Dallas Cowboys. You have them at number 16 in your power rankings. Obviously, much higher expectations than that going into this year. But this defense is not good right now. Just flat out. Not good. And I don't see it turning around because they don't have the guys in there. Dan Quinn did a lot with that defense, but they flat out just have undersized non-run defenders. They just do. Whether it's even like your best guys, Micah Parsons, not a run defender, not a guy who's just going to hold the point on a wide run or something like that. He's a playmaker against the run, but not a guy that can just operate what Mike Zimmer has wanted to do defensively, which is keep those 2 high safeties and have those guys hold gaps in the box. That ain't working. And now something's going to change. I'm guessing Mike Zimmer's no dummy, but I still just don't think they have the horses. And when that's the case, that's why people harp run defense, because if you can get run on, you'll get run on the entire game, and it'll bring you to your knees as a defense in terms of what you have to do.
If you give a mouse a cookie,
he's going to want a glass of milk. That's like the run game. If you give him a big chunk in the run game, they're going to keep asking for milk and cookies all day. Baby.
It's the most demoralizing thing you can see for a team.
Yep.
Because you don't get the ball. They're blasting you. You know how when an offensive line is going and blasting you, they feel
Just
good. Run. You hear it on the sideline yelling.
You look at the sideline. You go, run it again, run it again,
and that's what they're doing. And we can go back to last year when Buffalo ran all over them. Remember, late in the season, they couldn't stop Buffalo's run, and we're going to fix it this year. Mozzie Smith is going to be there. He's going to gain his weight back, and he's going to be good. And the problem is they can't. You're right. They're tiny.
Yeah.
They're little, they get pushed around. And so when you get pushed around like that, it demoralizes the whole thing. And then get those big plays off of it in the passing game when you play action. Next thing you know, you look up and you're down, and they start pressing on offense, and that's the problem.
And then on the flip side, they don't have the pass pro that they did last year, where it's like, we're behind, drop back, 5 out. They used to be able to do that last year and not worry about Dak getting killed. Now they just can't. They can't run the same stuff.
Guyton's been a problem.
Guyton's been struggling.
Yeah, he's a problem at left tackle right now.
Left tackle story of the year. So that's who I think is just right. 16. If I'm picking right now, doubt they make the playoffs.
Any other notes from his? Any other notes from his power rankings?
Thursday night to the Giants. So what then? Is there
Well, we said we're thinking McCarthy, he gets the year, but Bill Belichick's coach.
Yeah, they're not going to fire him midseason, but I definitely think that Jerry Jones, to your point, is going to have to make a splash.
Will Jerry hire Bill?
If he wants to shut everybody up.
Alone.
If he wants to shut everybody up.
Brand, but what's a better name brand?
But Jerry loves being the guy in the football decisions. Can you imagine Bill and Jerry in football decisions?
Well, Bill has said he'll give that up, right? That was like his thing. He'll give that up.
He said he would give that up, but with Jerry Jones, he's not going to give it up.
I'm just saying,
Mike, come on.
Jerry wants every single First Take episode start with Cowboys, right?
And they usually do.
If you had Bill Belichick every single First Take episode,
100%.
You're the story.
He just hears money being printed.
Who else do you hire that?
At some point, you get to your point in life and you say, he's an old man. He wants to win. And look, Belichick's a great coach. He wants to win. He wants to win another Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, Belichick wants the all-time wins record.
You want a DC or an OC there?
Belichick better watch out, because if Andy Reid coaches until he's 70 and he doesn't come back, Andy Reid's going to get the all-time wins record.
Yeah, honestly. All right, there's our Goldilocks segment. Honestly, nowadays, maybe you want the DC. I don't know.
I think you want the DC.
Yeah.
Who?
Do
you want a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator hire?
In Dallas.
You want a defensive mind or an offensive mind?
Defensive mind.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get to some awards, but after that, first, we're going to take a quick little break.
And then the 60-yard field goal was stupid, too.
We got the awards segment. As always, Pete's already too excited here talking about the awards during the break, and with good reason, because I think we have a 2-time winner for your Mulligan Award to kick us off here.
I think he's going to win it a bunch this year. Sirianni, what the hell are you doing?
Can we rename it the Sirianni Award?
What is he doing?
I like that.
I mean, okay, at the end, we should rename it
the Nick Sirianni Mulligan Award.
Okay, at the end of the half, it's 4th and 1. You have a chance to tie it before you go into the locker room, and he decides he's going to go for it with 14 seconds left. So what's your end game there?
Yeah, I can explain the analytics, because the analytics doesn't support this. Because when you go for 4th downs, it's to get the option of the touchdown. With 14 seconds left, that option is wildly slim at that point. There's no, we can drive this down and go score a touchdown if you had, say, a minute 30 or whatever left. You have 2 plays, and then you got to kick. You don't have a full 3 downs. So the analytics does not support that decision. Nick Sirianni, the studies he ran, I remember after last week, he's like, my study said this. And it's like, whatever studies he's doing, I can't believe they supported that. It was not a bad. It was
There's
a
also decision. The analytics don't take into the field the game, and the game at that time is 3-0, not 21.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying the analytics didn't support it to begin with. So
what?
That was just, it was, the analytics wouldn't support that decision.
No, but I'm saying if they did, even if the analytics did say it, it was 3-0. It wasn't 21-21. It wasn't like the games, the Bengals game last night. Nobody was moving the football. So you take your points, go in, if you feel good, you're going in, you're tied.
Take your points.
You take the points, that one. And then the 60-yard field goal. You were up 7-6 at that moment, right? It's okay to punt.
Make them go the
I'm
length
telling
of
you,
the
I have
field.
T-shirts. It's okay to punt, morons, because the bottom line is, if you punt there, you pin them in, you're still winning, you'll play good. It's been a defensive game. The whole game's been a defensive game. So what you do is you give them life. They go down, they go score a touchdown, and they take the lead. You need a miracle busted coverage to win the game because of your stupidity in that situation.
Yeah, 60 yards. Unbelievably slim chance from like any analytics will tell you that even the best kickers in the league, you're basically coin flipping at best. And so you're coin flipping to give them a tiny field to go ahead score, or you're coin flipping to get a 4-point lead, which we just saw doesn't mean you're going to win the game because we just saw it last week when they went to that.
They never spin it forward. They never spin it forward. Think, you're in a defensive game.
Yeah, in these types of matchups, it's like with the Jaguars a couple weeks ago. It's like punt the ball, get rid of it, make them go the long way. You got to earn it against us, especially with the defensive coordinator you have. You can keep them slowed down a little bit, play to play.
Right. Or Dan Campbell faking the punt in his own end. There's no the end game. You got to spin it forward. What's your end game? Oh, you got 12 yards or whatever.
He's just crazy enough to trust what he does.
You got to be rational when you make the decisions. The game flow and how it's being played. If you do that 60-yard field goal last night, okay.
Good. We need points. Everybody's scoring.
You might just go for
whether it's short field or long field, they're going to score.
That game isn't the same as the Saints game. It's just not. They're not the same. That's where the analytics don't play in. The game isn't the same.
Well, usually, so like when you build a model, you base it off of, I know as like an outsider, you base it off of what the over-under is. So like that in terms of like how often you think how well do you think a team's going to be able to move the ball? Because if like you're in the Chargers-Steelers game where the over-under was 35.5 points, you just think the offenses will struggle. Like that's
on it.
And if you're in, what was it? What was the highest one of the week? Was it Cardinals Lions maybe?
Bengals Commanders. We can use.
Yeah, that was the Cardinals Lions was the highest.
The highest over of the week. Then you think that we're going to have to get points just because you predisposed to think that there's points going to be scored in this game. Then it would have a different.
But once you get into the game, if the game isn't what you think it is, then all that analytics.
You have to be human and not a robot.
You have to adjust.
Correct. And they don't always adjust.
You have to take into account what's going on.
Game flow.
You always talk about game flow.
Game flow matters.
You belong on the sideline for some of these coaches.
They would choke
in their ear. Game flow, Nick.
No, you moron. Run the damn ball.
That's good.
All right, Kyle, what are your awards?
My awards. I've got the Mute Button Award and I've got the Florida Man Award. The Florida Man Award, sometimes Florida men, and for those of you who don't know, the Florida man do a little bit of everything, a little bit crazy. You might see him at the bar. You might see him at his boat, getting the barnacles off of it. You might see him wrestling a gator. A guy that's been doing this stuff for a very long time, Kyle Van Noy. I think he's got 5 sacks now on the season. He had 2 this past week against the Cowboys in a game where he was needed. We knew that the Ravens had to step up. And not only that offense, who stepped up big time, it was the defense. Kyle Van Noy, Florida Man of the Week. He gets sacks. He gets tackles. He's good in the run, in the pass. Love Kyle Van Noy. Also, he's a Kyle. I had to give him some love. And then I'm going to go.
I can't believe you didn't go Andrew Van Ginkel with that one. Andrew Van Ginkel had a day.
I'm going to go Penei Sewell for the Mute Button Award. And usually we're talking pass protection, but from the very first play that you put on the last Lions game, he is rolling guys off the line of scrimmage. Nobody has more intent in the run game, particularly on the backside of zone, on the backside of some of these power looks, than Penei Sewell. He is an absolute badass. Really great, really boring to watch in pass protection, a dancing bear, but really he makes his hay and finds himself on the Mute Button Award winner list because of his run blocking. He can get plays started in a way that Trent Williams gets these plays started on the front side. Penei is fabulous. Love watching him play. Mute Button Award winner.
Yes, he's that guy. With Lane out, he's RT2 with Lane in, Lane out. He's RT1 in the NFL, in my opinion. All right, my awards. Rookie of the Weeks. Offensively, this one's obvious. Jaden Daniels, 21 of 23, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 39 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown as well. It was crisp. It was accurate. Not missing a lot of throws. And gosh, what a show that was on Monday Night Football. Defensive rookie, Latu.
Oh, beat Cole Kmet and Mercedes Lewis. You got to stay, outside in. You got help on your inside.
The cross chop working. You had the bull rush working against Braxton Jones. 5 pressures, the sack, force fumble, as advertised, right out the gate for Latu. So those are your rookies of the week. All right, let's get to the favorite part of every show, though, the draft.
Here we go.
We drafted our base offense, and I believe I got hung out to dry by the YouTube because on the YouTube the question was, who do you want in a 3rd and long? And obviously for a 3rd and long, Pete wins again from the YouTube award voters. This week, though, we're doing 5-man 3rd down blitz packages. What 5 guys do you want
pressure package
coming after the quarterbacks on a third down. So I said 5 men. It could be 3 linemen, 2 off-ball linebackers, 4 down linemen.
NASCAR package, you go 4 edge rushers at the line of scrimmage.
Exactly. We can build this however you want to.
So it's 3rd and 16.
It's 3rd and, let's just say 3rd and 10.
3rd and 8 to 12.
Okay.
3rd and 16 to throw in screen then.
Yeah, 3rd and 8 to 12.
Okay.
3rd and 8 to 12. There you go. So
who's going first? You get first pick. You get first pick.
I'm snaking this.
Go ahead.
I got to pull up my bank here of guys I want. I think there's 2 guys that really move the needle in a different manner on a third down. I got to go with Myles Garrett.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
There's 1 or 2 obvious first picks in my opinion. Myles Garrett is one of them. You saw what we did to Andrew Thomas. Just like the best tackles in the NFL can't block this guy. There's no one right now who gets trusted to go one-on-one against Myles Garrett, even with a foot entry.
So now I'm up or he's up?
Pete's up.
Okay.
I'll take Parsons.
Oh, he's going Micah Parsons.
I'm not a big
NASCAR.
I can move him. Believe me. You see how I played offense when I picked my offensive team the other day because I'm going to score so many points that I'm going to be in the NASCAR. I'm going to be in NASCAR a lot. So I'm
torn. I'm torn now. Do I start inside or do I start outside? Do I start second level? Or do I start third level pressure package? I don't know. But you know what? The guy I'm going to go with is not the sack leader so far. I'm going to go with TJ Watt. This guy is damn near impossible to block on third down, 3rd and long when he knows it's a pass. TJ Watt.
Oh, I can't believe you guys let me have this. I'll take Dexter Lawrence as my second pick.
He's not getting home.
To give me Myles Garrett and Dexter Lawrence.
He's not getting home.
Do you want to run a stunt? You want Dexter Lawrence.
You're wasting time running a stunt.
I'm just telling you. Dexter's get home. Dexter.
I'm going 3 edge rushers, dude.
Yeah. I'm going to put my NASCAR package going. I'm going to put Bosa.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Nick Bosa.
That's a good pick. I lied to you guys. I'm not going NASCAR package. I'm going another giant on the inside. DeForest Buckner, when healthy, is a mismatch against any guard in the National Football League. Give me Defoe.
Ooh, where do I go? I think like all the edge rushers. Actually, no, I'm going to go Aiden Hutchinson.
That's a good pick.
Better than Aiden Hutchinson right now.
It's scary because that's a chalky pick now.
Yeah. He has been. He looks even a little more twitched up this year than I feel like in years past. He's obviously gone up against a few backups, but he beat Paris Johnson for a sack last day, and Paris Johnson's been playing good ball.
I'm going to get an inside rusher.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Matabike.
Okay, that's a good pick, and I'm going to also go another inside rusher with Chris Jones.
Ooh, all right. So to recap, with 3 people drafted so far, I have Myles Garrett, Dexter Lawrence, Aiden Hutchinson. Kyle has TJ Watt, DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones. Pete with Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, Justin Madubuike. No one's gone off ball yet.
We're about to.
I'm debating whether I want to go off ball or whether I want just like one more speed rusher type guy. No, let me go. Do I want interior? Gosh, I'm kind of.
Simmons still available.
Simmons. Keon White's still available.
Dexter from the Bears is on my list.
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go Max Crosby.
Damn, that's where I was going.
And we're
for my NASCAR package.
We're gonna rush him on the interior.
That's a great pick. Who you got, Pete?
I got to get another inside.
Yeah, you have Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, and Nnamdi Madubuike.
Multiple.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who I would go with.
Right, I mean
another inside rusher.
Some names available: Keon White, Jalen Carter, Quinnen Williams.
Don't do that to
Oliver.
I'll take. You know what? I'm such a damn good coach that Jalen Carter will play his ass off.
There you go.
Like he did.
Love that
like
idea.
he did in New Orleans last week. I'll take Jalen Carter.
I'm going to go Keon White, a guy that hasn't been playing with a ton of all-stars, but you put him in this huddle.
Yep.
You put him in this huddle.
I love Keon.
Who are you going to block? Who are you going to slide to? Give me Keon White.
All right, I got one more. I probably need an off-ball guy. This one's tough because I think Fred Warner. Like we're just saying the blitzers. Who's getting home? Fred Warner is like. Obviously, who
does the O-line have to account for? Who does the O-line have to account for?
Give me Leo Chanel.
Oh, he's great.
That guy can rush from anywhere.
Plays offense, too.
Can be an add-on. That's my off-ball.
Well, you know what? I'll take Fred Warner because I love speed.
There you go.
I love speed.
Leo Chanel ran a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He actually ran faster than Fred Warner.
Yeah, but he doesn't play as fast as
I'm not going speed with my last pick here. I'm going in. This isn't my last pick, right? This is my last pick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get an off-ball guy, a guy that I played with, and he's not exactly the best cover linebacker, but he is somebody that becomes a little mini D lineman when he pressures. Give me Nick Bolton, dude. Give me Nick Bolton in the A and the B gaps. He's a bowling ball. He'll provide a lot of pressure.
Your team's not as bad as your team last week, but
because I played against these guys. You think I know anything about receivers, dude?
Who are some we didn't draft? We didn't say.
Well, the best thing about
here's the list.
That his team was voted ahead of your team.
A couple guys I have down there.
Montez Sweat, Josh Allen, Greg Rousseau, Brian Burns, Ed Oliver, Quinnen.
Ed Oliver is a manimal. And I kind of feel like I disrespected Ed Oliver for not taking him on my list. But
a few years ago, DeMario Davis.
I love my team because it's all up the field guys that can get after.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole group. Now
I want glass eaters in the middle that have a little bit of skill, and then I want the guys on the edge that just threaten your edges.
See, he took Dexter Lawrence, and Dexter Lawrence is different than everybody else in there. He's a power player, and he can push the pocket.
I'll just put him at nose.
He's going to drive your center back into the lap of your quarterback.
Makes everyone else's life easier.
Yeah.
Well, then you get into the complimentary rush stuff. So who likes to win outside? That's the question for me.
Who did we leave off?
They're going to flush.
Like we could Simmons maybe?
Simmons is on my list, but I didn't pick him.
Quinnen Williams on the interior if you really want, but he's not been great this year. Ed Oliver on the interior. Brian Burns, Von Miller, if you want like speed rushers. Greg Rousseau has been great this year. That's who I had on mine.
Yeah, there's a lot of great names. It's always tough to make these lists, but I just feel like if you put the right group together and they have synergy, watch out.
What about safeties that?
I was thinking Harrison
Kyler
Smith
Gordon
as a blitzer.
Harrison Smith is a great.
Or what's his face? Who's the
Hamilton?
Kyle Hamilton. It's the Dolphin safety that I'm blanking on. He's a good blitzer.
He's playing a little bit more like a linebacker.
He blitzed a ton when he was with Flores. Why am I just?
Who are you talking about?
Eric
Hendricks.
Hendricks.
Dolphin safety. That
Harrison Smith.
Who? Holland?
Anthony Sendejo.
Harry's a
Anthony Sendejo.
Dolphin safety.
Oh, Dolphin
Holland?
safeties.
Yeah, John Holland. John Holland would have been.
I thought you were saying. I thought you were talking about Minnesota. I was just naming random Minnesota defenders.
But when he was with Brian Flores, he was blitzing, and he was great.
How's a good list, though?
All right, let us know.
We're going to get after some quarterbacks
Let
with
us
this
know
list.
who got it right.
NASCAR package.
Tomorrow we'll be doing deep dives with Leger Douzable joining the show. Until next time, like, subscribe, follow, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you want your mailbag questions answered, because we'll be answering those on the show.
Mailbag.
Till next time, keep pushing.
Peace. Be nice to Pete on Twitter.